So, we have a guest speaker today. I think you guys already know, but, does anyone here know Blake?
Woohoo!
Blake? Nobody?
Do they not know Blake?
It
is a lot of new people.
Let's really get that kicked off.
But Blake, when did you start in real estate?
Started in 2018.
2018, so about 5 years. And what does your real estate career look like right now?
Year to date, we sold about 450 homes. Past 2
Year
years.
to date this year?
Sorry, career to date.
Okay, good.
But
But
we're
still,
crushing it this year.
5 years from, yeah, starting in 5 years. And how many people do you have on your team?
I have 7 total agents. 3 of them are part-time going full-time because they're starting to make enough money, so.
Sweet. What's also really cool about Blake is he's also a real estate investor as well. So just a whole bundle of knowledge. If you don't know him, you should get to know him. He's also really nice. So that's kind of helpful. We ask him for a lot of favors. And yeah, he's pretty nice if you say please. So yeah, I won't take up any more time. I'm Tori if we haven't met yet, but I think I know every face in this room, hopefully. Shanna is still out today. She's sick. No idea what the rest of the week will look like. Just call me if you need anything. I'll put up my number really fast. Call or text me, email Shanna. I'm also in her email, but I'll let Blake take it away.
So Shanna can hear us, but she can't
She
talk to
can
us.
hear you. She's typing. I think she can unmute and talk.
I can hear all of
The whole
it.
time.
Okay.
If she would just do a
Exact
COVID
opposite.
test, it's negative.
She took a COVID test and it was negative.
If she does, if
No,
Oh.
Shanna
I
does
gotcha.
have the COVIDs, but
Oh,
it's
does
all right.
she?
Yeah.
So I can mute her too.
Well, then I feel fortunate because I took the test.
Oh, this is gonna be really fun. Okay, so Shanna called me Judy 2 days ago.
Oh, she's also.
I heard
you did
that.
In text with me. She asked me to come early to get Judy set up.
Okay.
So that's
she
your
gets
new name.
Delusional, she likes calling people Judy.
Again.
She doesn't know any Judys, by the way.
I was like, is there a
Not a
Judy in
single
here? She's just like, "No."
You, just you.
Only you, the only Judy you know. Okay, so they asked me to come down here and talk with you guys. And so there's 1,000 things that I could talk about, but is there anything specific, actually, who's new to KW? New being 3 months or less. Very cool, welcome to KW. 6 months or less. Yeah, close, a year, then 2 years, let's do less than 2 years. Okay, less than 3 years?
There we go.
I was like, wow, that's really cool.
I know.
I'm about to celebrate.
Dang.
It's not a big deal.
I honestly forgot what day it was, like yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, did I miss it? I missed it.
I didn't.
Listen.
I got 2 weeks.
I'm setting an alarm because I have to leave at 9:50, I have to walk out the door, so then Tori's taking over from there. But, so let's try and make this valuable for you guys and myself. What would you like to learn? What do you want to talk about?
Name it.
We could.
I missed 6 weeks because everything's new.
Okay, so anything goes for her.
Talk about objection handling,
Objection handling.
especially right now because they're dealing with sellers that don't want to sell and buyers that don't want to pay that much. So I would tell you to go down that road.
So who here is actually having this conversation? What are the objections that you're getting? Okay, you guys are talking to people, right?
Interest rates,
Yes.
there's not
many-
enough inventory to look at, which is.
Everything's priced too high.
Interest rates, pricing,
Yeah.
okay?
What if we took a slight step back, because you just made a great point,
Mhm.
we're not talking to people. Everything is so quiet right now. How are you getting in front of people?
Which, so many ways.
Start with your favorite.
Cigars at the vineyard, you know, sorry. Yeah, so this is something that I really, we'll get into objection handling, but we got 45 minutes. You can talk to, who's the person that you know, or a class of people, or a group of people, or whatever of people that don't buy real estate?
Retirees.
Okay, so like people that are like, hey, I don't want to own anymore, it's time to go like assisted living, like downsizing, okay? They got one to sell though,
Right.
more than likely.
Teenagers.
Okay, teenagers, that's a good group. We've got 2 answers. I didn't think that was, this is really good. Teenagers aren't buying. Who's not buying real estate right now?
With bad credit scores.
Guys
People
do
with
the-
great interest rates on their current property.
Hmm?
People with great interest rates on their current property.
Oh, those people are still buying a ton.
But that's the perception that we need to overcome.
But I wanna do, we'll just boil it all the way down, so I've heard. Where can you not talk to people? So you're asking, the question was, how am I getting leads,
Mhm.
essentially? I'm going places and I'm talking to people. It is literally that simple. We will complicate it for the next 35 minutes or 40
Right.
minutes. But I watch the Chiefs games with as many friends as I can. I have a previous client of mine now runs Vision Con. So now I'm really into Vision Con, which I didn't really even know what that was, but I do now. Which is really cool. I get to meet the guy that played Superman for Smallville, which is, I guess, a really big deal. But then just going into the world and being curious and interested in whatever's going on. Where, somebody, like, 3 people tell me where you go and not Cassie or Amy, because they're saving you guys right now. They're carrying. So where is somewhere that you go all the time? Yeah, church, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Do people buy houses there?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was another one.
Sports events for kids.
Say ball games.
Yeah, yeah,
Of course.
okay. Where do you guys currently go?
Ball games.
Okay, ball games.
Okay, how are you getting yourself in the way of business at those ball games?
Being
Where are you-
intentional.
Are you wearing your KW gear? Are you wearing a name tag? You don't have to even walk up to people and say anything about houses. Are you putting yourself out there that, oh crap, that's right, Don sells houses? You don't have to say a word. You just have to advertise yourself in some way, shape or form.
I thought I'm getting a new shirt that says, I sell houses.
Yeah.
It's that easy, gang. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel on this. Just make sure people are aware of you.
Yeah. It's a
I
why
did
are
wear my
we-
KW umbrella to the rainy game the other night.
KW what?
It was raining the other night when Maddie was cheering. I had my KW umbrella, which I made so much fun of when they gave it to us. And now I'm like, I'm not kidding.
So funny.
And if you've got a tumbler or a giant obnoxious water bottle that you love,
Yeah,
get a KW sticker and slap it on the side.
Yes. All right, I'm getting it ordered right now, baby.
Just get, do something so people are aware of where you are.
So, and then if you're in, who's in Bold right now? Who's taking Bold? Okay, very cool. So we did the conversations. How many conversations do you need to have a week?
100.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just conversations about real estate. You can literally do them anywhere. The infuriating part is that we just don't. And so I promise you, you know how to handle the objections. So objection handling, let's jump into that, but you already know how to handle the objections. That's almost never the problem. Our interest rate's high right now.
No.
No, not to me.
Okay.
I was born in 52. So I had a dental practice and the interest rate was 21%, 86.
Okay,
So this is a cakewalk.
yeah. What are interest rates right now? House price is high compared to what they're used to.
Yes.
But it's in the mind of the consumer, okay? What's the answer? It is, prices are high, that is correct.
Yeah, the house that I had built in 76 was like 50,000, 1,600 square feet. So it's like almost $250,000 today.
Yeah, that's awesome, that's crazy. So with, okay. Where do you go, does anybody get coffee every morning?
I shouldn't, but you bet.
I shouldn't. I do.
My bank account screams, but I'm like,
So if you don't, who here just stays in their house all day? Oh, we just,
obviously not.
I know, I think that's the part, it's like, you guys are
Not
obviously.
anymore. What do we do?
What do you guys do?
I do sometimes.
Yeah, it's, there's.
I mean, I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's good, that's gonna make talking to people harder.
I know.
Like in order to hit any real estate goal that you have, what do you have to do?
Talk to people.
Say that in a way to make that more complicated. We want it to be more complicated.
No.
No. We just wanna go do it. So I'm looking for, they said golfer, and I was like, golf course is literally the perfect example of where you can get business done. You can do it while you're waiting in line for coffee. You can do it all the time. I'm trying to think of a place you couldn't ask for business or just turn around and be like, hey, what do you get here? And then by the end of the conversation, you'd be like, oh, it's really nice to meet you. I serve real estate. If you ever have a need, let me know. And that counts as one conversation. So you need to have 100 of those, and then you get a deal. Like does everybody understand that math? Like I know, we know how to use the formula, but do you understand that if you talk to 100 people, you'll get $700 to $800 on average? Like, is that clicked in?
Nope, I don't think so.
'Cause that is a game changer. The first time you talk to somebody and they just go, yeah, you're gonna go, okay, sweet. And then you're gonna get on the phone, you're gonna call somebody, you're gonna be really jacked out of your mind, then it's gonna close and you're gonna get paid and you're gonna go, all I did was talk to people. At some point, you're gonna feel guilty because it's too dang easy. It's like, this doesn't make sense. And then you kind of.
Does that equate to roughly $80 a contact? Wanna make 8 grand on it? I don't know.
Yeah, right around there.
So look at it that way. Every time you pick up the phone, even if it's a note, you're making $80.
I actually have this right here. So. We got, well, for the rest of the time, we're gonna talk about interest rates, which we will have this thing, but if we take the time to do this, do you guys promise that you'll talk to somebody about it? Promise?
Absolutely.
Okay, please.
Or else listen to her point.
And yours may be a different point than I was gonna make. I heard it's priced too high. We're all getting, well, I keep hearing that. Everybody keeps saying it's priced too high. The average growth rate that we should have is 4.2%. Year over year, if you look back over decades, when they started keeping track of it, it's 4.2% is what our annual growth rate is. Between 2007 and 2007, we had that unbelievable, you were writing loans if you could have a heartbeat situation. It was 7 to 8% growth then, and it continued on for a while, and we've experienced that kind of since then. But if you watch this 4.2% line across the decade, yeah, we're priced a little high right now, but truth be told, we're actually priced where we're supposed to be. Everybody just got used to this gap right here when all the bottom fell out of it. They don't realize that we're just catching up to where we would have been if we wouldn't have had this issue in 2007 to 2009. And that's a great grounding thing for your clients because they don't know that. I can't tell you how many people are going, oh, really? I said, yeah, we're a little high because we had again, that 7 to 8% that just went crazy. And we're adjusting for that a little now, but people that are expecting that $350,000 house to go back to 280, it's not going back, kids, not gonna happen. So I don't know if that, you were going interest rates, but that's my greatest argument for it's priced too high.
Yeah.
It's priced where it should be. Okay,
So you guys wanna carry that, cause that's a mega camp slide.
Mhm.
It's like actually every listing I go on, I take 5 pieces.
and that was 3 years ago, I think you did that at Mega Camp, and I've used it ever since.
I did see something, that Trump, if he got in office, he's gonna do a 3% for homes.
How that would work, but
So prices will just go super high.
doesn't.
I mean, that's just how it always works.
Does everybody here understand? Because I know we do have some, so supply and demand, everybody knows what supply and demand is, right?
Right.
Do we have enough houses? No, you don't, that's why prices are so high. In order for prices to go down, what would need to happen?
We would have had to build the homes we should have been building after the 08 crash.
Yeah, we need a
There's
ton of
no
houses.
catch up at this point.
So until demand catches up with supply, or supply catches up to demand, supply.
The amount of contractors that are leaving the business and not coming back in, that's also rough.
Well, and I don't know the number, do you know the number of, before 2007, we were producing,
400,000.
was it 400,000 new builds or was?
It was 800,000, then during 2008, I think it dropped down to like 400,000.
Yeah, and you lost 40% of the contractors in that dip.
I think it's for every 100 that leave, 7 replace them, statistic, which is a scary number.
Which is again, also just a quick sidebar, why a lot of you are calling me and saying, hey, the builder says they're not gonna fix X, Y, or Z. I don't want you to talk poorly about any builder, but they know they've got 7 other people in line. So make sure that you dot your i's and cross your t's in your offer and follow up on it all the time. Because if you wait to change something till the end, they're gonna tell you, I got somebody next door that'll buy it. If you guys don't wanna close on it, don't.
Yeah, materials and labor, I mean, I was talking to a lady that's been an agent for a builder for most of her real estate career, and they can't hardly build a house for under 250.
Yeah, for sure. Which, what does that mean? When she says that, what does that mean to you guys, the agents? Good morning, good morning. Means prices are going to be high. High. I keep using the word high. People love talking about real estate, guys. And as long as you can deliver them the news of like, well, it's higher than we're used to in this area. Like there's a really good conversation starter. Write that down. If you're in a line and someone talk, what do? You sell, I have a house, you have a shirt that says I sell houses on the back of it. And then they start talking to you, what are you going to talk about? Because I'm curious as to if the reason we don't talk to more people is because we don't know how to start the conversation. Because once you start talking about real estate, you know what to say. If I say prices are high, do you guys agree, disagree, or just let me talk? We'll boil it down, we'll make it.
Are you the agent or are you the random person that we're talking to?
Oh, good question. Set the floor. Okay, if I'm talking to, I'm the agent.
And I'm the customer,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna say, prices are so high right now.
That you just come out of the gates with that. I mean, we're just we're in Walmart buying dog
Well,
food.
if we're just at Walmart, okay, how do you start the conversation with me?
So I'm asking
I'm
you,
looking at cereal.
just looking at cereal? Okay, so the issue is that if it's gonna take you, okay. I love this, thank you, being you. If the problem that's making you, I don't wanna talk to somebody is how do I relate real estate to Captain Crunch? Yeah, that's gonna be really tough. So the reason we have to talk to more people is because not everyone is gonna have a real estate need. Real estate is not gonna come up with everybody. So if you talk to the guy or me, and I'm like, hey, we got a cereal, you're like Captain Crunch, and I'm like, great, have you heard any about real estate? I would never do that, it would make no sense. How do you do that? I would rather just be like, hey, I sell real estate and I like cereal. And so we have something in common, and if you have needs, please use me and then leave, because I'd be like,
Can't believe I just said that, bye.
can't believe I did it, but to talk to a stranger is fun.
It's fun, they said.
But it's, what can you do to like start the conversation? It's what makes you comfortable doing so. There are some people, and they blow my mind, they will just walk up to a table full of people and be like, I sell real estate, do you guys have a need? It's like, oh my. But then I've seen too many times someone say, actually, yeah. It's like, what? But you have an agent, because there's so many agents in the area. They're like, no, I haven't talked to anybody, I don't. What? Okay, and then they set an appointment and they go. So it's when they bring up real estate, or how do you bring up real estate in the conversation? But the thing is, you have to start a conversation. And it can be about cereal. Sarah and I were moving and we were at Walmart. There's this old couple looking at shelves, and I was trying to get rid of all of our stuff. Because I hate moving. And so it's like, oh, we have those shelves, and it's like, hey, if you guys want free those, because we have them, you can just come pick them up from my house. They said, sure, that'd be great. We're in the process of getting our house ready to sell. We don't know where to put stuff. We don't want boxes on the ground. And I was like, no kidding. Then we talked about real estate. And then they'd already had a signed agency agreement that they told me about when they got to my house to pick up the stuff. I still gave them the shelves and we moved on. They did refer a friend of theirs to me because I put them in command and I followed up with them. The relationship that I created with these people was in a Walmart aisle. They don't know me as anything besides an agent, and that's totally fine. But I had to start the conversation. And it was about shelves that I was trying to get rid of. There was no real estate. Real estate was not the thing that I initiated the conversation about. It's like, if you can do it, and like, good on you. If you're not initiating conversations, just, how would you create it? How do you get a friend?
In bold, I think the biggest thing I've learned is to be intentional. Look for every opportunity.
Real estate comes up.
And if you look for every opportunity and you're intentional with at a ball game or wherever and just, hey, what's up? How are you? What's going on?
Well, do most people talk back when you talk to them? I mean,
Absolutely.
generally, okay, sometimes they're gonna walk past you, right, but that's what I was just saying to the end of his, it's just like, just talk to people because they talk back. And at some point, they're gonna ask you what you do. You know?
Who here believes they're likable? I was like, I hope you guys raise your hand on that one. That was like a soft.
This is a totally different conversation.
What do you do that makes you likable?
Friendly, open.
Kind, caring things.
Okay, so to be likable, you need to be kind, caring,
I smile a lot.
Sincere.
sincere. I'm trying to think of the best way to get, made fun of is not the right word. My team really likes to give me grief, let's just say that. Because the amount of intention that you can put into skills or skill sets, so if anybody didn't raise your hand and you're like, I don't really think I'm likable, okay, conversations are gonna be really tough. If you do believe you're likable and you don't know how to have a conversation, just realize what you do that makes you think that you're likable. And just do that with a stranger. Yeah. Oh man, get really fired up about this. Why aren't you guys talking to people? Is it, now we'll make a multiple choice. Is it you don't know what to say? You don't know how to handle the objections? You don't know how to start the conversation or other?
Anything goes here.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
everyone has fears about talking to people, and this is just a one, like, you're not alone, just say it. I mean.
I would never walk up to somebody and just hand them my card. That has never been my MO.
Mhm.
Never ever. I would never do that.
Inappropriate.
That means that I do need to go talk to a lot of people at a lot of different places. So I love eating out. I love getting coffee and drinks and cigars, and I like, golf is growing on me, which is wild, because I'm just miserable at it. Oh, I'm almost, I was like, well, that was pretty good. It's like, oh, no.
That could be your thing, though. You could be the funny friend that they always know they're gonna beat. That could be your whole thing,
Which is totally fine, because what's my goal?
just to talk to them about real estate.
Is the goal there for me to get really good at golf?
Uh-uh.
No. No. My goal is to talk with them. And so, with me going to all those things, what do you think I just bring up? Always,
Real estate.
always. It's the one thing that I do all the time.
Real estate.
Real estate.
This happens, it leaches into the conversation.
And you can make it happen.
Mhm.
Hey, did you guys see that Nix is not going USDA? Like all those big headlines that every agent posts and you see it post 25 times? Read and understand the concept, and when you see somebody, be like, hey, did you see this? This is crazy. This is what's happening in my world. When you're, I don't know, you're making really good eye contact, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna pick on you. What's your name?
Me?
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Stephanie. If I asked you, how's the market, what would you say?
When people ask me that, I usually just kind of bring up how it's kind of shifting, but I truly don't think it's gonna be
Can you
as,
tell me exactly what you say?
oh gosh, that's, I mean, I'm on the spot. I usually just say, yeah, I know it's been changing quite a bit lately. Ready for it to become a little bit more of a buyer or an even balanced market. And I do mention inventory quite a bit too, just because it's a lack right now.
Then what do they say?
Usually they just agree. The other day I was talking to my neighbor. I very intentionally pulled signs out of my car and they're asking if I'm moving. And I said, well, no, but I did just move brokerages. And so they were telling me about their son who's trying to purchase up in St. Louis area, but he's just getting really fed up and about to wash his hands of it and just come down here. So I immediately started talking about how our market's much better. It's definitely more stable. Interest rates are what they are, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be that way forever, and it's still not as bad as it was. And I said they were gonna give my contact info to their son, so we shall see, but I know where they live, so I can.
Does he have an agent in St. Louis?
I didn't ask that question. That would have been good to do.
25%.
Yeah, I know that's the easiest money is when you get a fair amount.
I forget about it all the time too.
That's perfect.
But I do get to see them almost every day because they go walking every day, so lots of opportunity there.
Yeah, no, who's done more than 15 deals in a year in the room? Check. Okay, perfect. How often do you feel really creepy doing the things that you do so that you can talk to people? Do you linger, or do you guys lingerers at all?
my favorite word.
A little bit, all right.
But I think if you just own the creepiness and you make it kind of silly.
Yeah, the amount of, when we walk in somewhere and I'll see somebody that I've had a conversation with before, but I'm just like, I don't know, I don't remember exactly, but maybe they were gonna buy. And she knows now, she's like, are we waiting, are you really walking slower so that we can, I'm like, yeah, of course I am. There's conversations to be had here.
Just own it.
I have to hit the goal.
You want dinner? Stakeout on a new listing, when you just hang out at a new listing in town, and then new people come by that maybe wanna see the house, don't have an agent, you just get to talk to them. But if you stake out a brand new listing that has good price or whatever, you will get a lot of nice clients that way.
That's awesome.
It's fine. I do my work on the hood of the car and everything, it's fine.
Genius.
Not doing that.
You're getting
It's
business
funny.
that
I
way.
like it. It works. I believe you.
What on your car?
She doesn't work.
Laptop and do my work,
Oh.
paperwork and stuff while waiting.
Hey Blake, how's the market?
Are you buying or selling?
Selling.
Really good. It's really, really good. How fast were you needing to move?
2 weeks. I'm buying.
2 weeks? Okay, you're buying, so you're not even selling it, are you? It's gonna be a little worse than it is if you're selling.
Okay.
Have you already talked to the lender?
See, and we're in conversation, sorry.
Hmm.
It was more about the initial reaction, your initial response, because to me, it's great. What do you want to do? You want to buy or sell?
It depends. Is it a better market if you're selling right now than if you're buying? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even close. Like, and you guys know the data. Like, I know that Shannon takes the time and talks about it, and they do a team meeting. Like, once you know that information, stop worrying about what to say and just realize that you just have to say something. You'll say the right stuff. And if you don't know what to say, what's the thing that you need to do? You need to come in here and learn what to say. Just say the exact, objection handling is really, really important. And it makes you way better at converting the leads. But if you're not having the conversations, converting the leads doesn't matter.
Shanna said, market is great, why do you ask?
Market is great, why do you ask? That's awesome. That's really good. So the point in the scripts and role play, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Like, I'm probably the laziest person in this building, if I'm being honest with you. And you laugh because it's just like, oh God, if he doesn't have to do it, I'm not doing it. And we've sold a lot of houses. Cause I know exactly what I have to do to get in and get the thing done. And I'm like, I don't want, I'm good. But if I need 60 or 100 conversations a week, that's the non-negotiable piece. I'm gonna go have those conversations, and if I have to just keep talking to people, I do. There are some days I'm like, oh God, do you have real estate needs? Cause I'm over this, I don't wanna have this conversation anymore. So, I'm just done, I'm done. But then tomorrow, we're gonna have a conversation, keep having them. Oh,
I will also tell you guys, it's okay to say, I'm not 100% on that. Let me go check and get back to you. That does two things. One, that shows that I'm gonna go make sure I'm giving you the correct information. And two, it gives you an opportunity to what? Have another conversation.
who's gonna go talk to people today? The people that have
Two
sold
of
more
you.
than 15 houses. It was funny.
What I miss?
What am I missing? I'm using this, I'm being selfish, Shannon, I'm sorry. What's the thing that I don't know? What's the thing that's not making you guys talk to people? This has been a fascination of mine for like 2 years.
I think it's just limiting beliefs for a lot of new agents.
Okay, but what specifically do you think the limiting belief is?
Just the anxiety of the starting a conversation of walking up to somebody and talking to them. And that for me is what it was. Even I put flyers on cars in Walmart. Nobody told me I couldn't, and I kept doing it, and I got lots of homes that way. But, I mean, just that was even the anxiety to do by myself. I made somebody else go with me,
Yeah.
right? So.
Yeah, so I would say Shanna said something in here about fear. And yesterday in Bold, a big thing that I picked up on is someone simply said like, that they don't even schedule or time block for themselves because they don't want to fail at the schedule, which like, how silly does that sound? Like you yourself don't wanna, and I do it all the time. Sometimes I don't even wanna look at like my bank account, my schedule, nothing, cause I'm like, if I don't look at it or I don't do that, like it doesn't exist and I never failed and everything's fine. I don't need that negativity in my life, but it's like, when you think of like a conversation with people, I think a lot of people don't start it because you don't wanna fail, as in like, shoot, I left that conversation not asking about real estate. That sucks. It does hurt walking away from that because you're like, man, but I tell you what, he mentioned like 60 to 100 conversations a week. And I can tell you the reason why his number might be 60 and he's producing more off of that is because he's practiced and his conversion ratio has gone way down. So he's not having to try and try and try. He's practiced. He's not only practiced with people who are not in real time right there, like an actual lead. He practices with fellow people who are doing the same thing he's doing. And then he goes out there and he's just done it. And he just knows, he just feels more comfortable. He's himself and his conversion ratios are better because he's practiced and he just does it. Everybody has to start there. Do you still get nervous when you're talking to new people? Do you still have your bad days where you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to get in and out of this store. I don't even want to talk to anybody right now.
Oh, yeah.
You lay in bed at night and you think about that thing you said that you shouldn't have said or whatever.
100%. And yesterday, a big takeaway for me as well was the path to failure is paved by I don't want to's.
Want
And
to
I was
should.
like, oh my gosh, every night I put my kids down and there's so many things that I should do. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And my day is 10 times harder the next day, just with simple things. So it's like every time you say in your head, I should do this, but instead I'm gonna do this because I don't want to.
Choice.
You gotta check yourself. You really do.
Well, you wreck yourself.
I was doing it 5 times yesterday, but it's true.
I heard a quote that I've just been in my own head.
When I talk to people,
Mhm.
I just talk to people. I'm just who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not going by a script. I'm not, I mean, I still get the same information there. Is that,
That's what a script is.
huh?
That's what a script is.
I mean,
That's good. I'm saying, just like,
is that okay?
yeah, that's what you need to do.
Thing is.
Yeah, 100%.
Cause I'm not, I don't know how to say this without being derogatory. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not, to me, the script is more prepared and fake
Oh,
as opposed to just a natural, hey, how you doing? And, just go to talking.
mhm.
And I feel more comfortable with the way that I'm doing it. I just wanted to make sure if it's gonna get the same.
Yeah. Does anybody remember what Molly said about that?
She said you take what the script is and you kind of put your own personality and put
Tonality.
yes.
Your
100%. So like, you're still doing scripts. You have your introduction, and then if someone says real estate, you know what to say. And then you should have 2 or 3 scripts to get out of the conversation. And it's that quick. And if you can break it down into those 3 things, then you can totally have a conversation about real estate in 7 minutes or 15 minutes.
So I think everyone knows that I am the hater of all scripts. That's like
Hater.
my thing.
Gatorade.
I had, so I've been helping a new agent get used to the idea of doing role play and script practice, which is hilarious that I'm in this area.
Do as they say, not as they do.
So I felt like the things that I'm coming around. The things that I was saying to her, I was like, am I telling her the right reasons and the right way to use the script? So I went to Jen Davis, who is the expert.
I was like, "Ew."
And luckily I was saying the right thing. So what Jen said was, we use the scripts to internalize the information so we know what to say when faced with the conversation. We do not have to say it exactly the way a script is written, but if you don't practice the scripts and internalize the information, you will feel lost when you have that conversation and you won't know how to respond to the potential client. So even though they feel weird and they feel prepared and they feel inauthentic to who you are, just practice them anyway. Because when the time comes, the information will be in your head and you'll say it the way you would say it.
Okay, cool.
My turning point was thinking about like your favorite movies or TV shows. those are all scripts, yet we believe and we are immersed and we go back every single week or episode after episode. That's not them. That's a script, but we believe every word of it. So we're doing the same thing. We're just internalizing dialogue that gets us to be able to talk to a person where they love it too.
Yeah, I think, is anyone going to Jordan Freed next week? Next Wednesday?
locked
Me
in,
too.
yeah.
It's Shayna's like favorite thing ever. So, we had a Zoom call with him a couple weeks ago, just a short little like hour-long Zoom call. And just in that tidbit, I got like 3 pages of notes. So if you're not going, you should maybe go. But a big thing he said is the brain is constantly trying to like automate every single thing you do. So what are you feeding your brain? And with the script practice, right? Like if you're constantly in recon too, if you're constantly feeding your brain with this good information by going to team meeting and coaching, scripts, anything like that, if you guys are constantly around those conversations, you are feeding your brain all of that stuff. And when you get in that moment, it's gonna automate and come out in a conversation. And it's gonna sound like you because you're saying it, right? Like I couldn't, if you give me a paragraph of a script to memorize, I'm not gonna be able to memorize every word. It's gonna have a lot of maybe like us and a little hair twirl. I don't know. That's probably, I think that's how I come off to this world, but it's definitely gonna sound like me because at the end of the day, if I get in front of someone and I get really nervous, I get like more nice and more myself. I don't turn into a robot and I'm super monotone, like the market prices are really great right now. I promise everything's fine. This is what we talked about. I don't know. I don't know what a script is because it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, seriously, no thanks. So anyways, just think of what you're feeding your brain, because if you're scared to get out and talk to people, words of affirmation, real estate, if it's more real estate information, it's gonna be different for you. Whatever gets you ready to go every single morning and out of bed and get that confidence in what you need, just try it.
Because you play it, were there any sports? Has anybody played sports in here? Or a team?
30
I
years
cheered, it's
ago.
not-
I was gonna say, not in
Very
Still
long time
counts.
ago.
So you play how you practice.
Right.
But when you're running a football route or when you're dribbling a basketball or a soccer ball or whatever it is, you no longer think about it. You do automate the thing. So we're talking about interest rates and objection handling. Interest rates are high. Okay? Like, tell me why you think that. Because if I can actually figure out why you think they're high, there might be nothing that I can say to change that. But if we're actually talking about it and you're curious about it, now we can go and actually have a conversation about it. But you'll just do that. I want to make it very clear, like, it's not, okay, they said, do I real estate? Okay, script 4. There you go, and then it's like, and this is the thing, and then hopefully they say this, because if they don't say this,
I'm screwed.
I don't know what to say.
Right.
Like, it's objection handling because they're gonna give you the objection.
It's like
hopefully
Phoebe
you
when
don't
she was
comment,
selling
and you
toner.
do
One of the things Molly said is that objections are just unanswered questions. So
Yeah.
it's kind of digging to find out like what is the actual question, which can kind of be fun.
What else did she say with that too that I really liked? She said that if they're telling you the objection, that doesn't mean, that means they like you.
Yeah, they're
And
not
they
saying
want to
that.
talk to you, right? Because I think a lot of people internalize objections as like, oh gosh, they're shutting me down. This is
Right.
a no, they don't want to talk to me. What do I do? Like, and they take it as a negative thing, but if they're telling you their objections, they're wanting to have a conversation with you specifically. I liked that a lot.
I'm gonna flip it on and said, and if you're not ready to engage with them, are you helping that person or hurting that person?
Yeah, so Shanna said, for script practicing, you might get lost in the convo and not actually listen to them, which would in turn be hurting them. And then Cassandra, Cassandra? Did I say Cassandra? That's so
Cassandra's right.
fancy. Ooh, I love it. Do you
Like,
feel
that's
like
your
your time, do you feel like your time spent listening to Recon has helped your conversation?
Oh, yeah, I feel much more confident. And we do the same thing almost every day. We do interest rates, we do FSBOs and expireds almost every single day.
How many answers are those to the 6? How many answers are there to the 3 or 6 objections that you'll get?
How many
But there-
answers?
How many answers? Like, how many scripts are there to internalize throughout the,
One.
it's one.
It's one, and it's just the information and how it comes across, and asking questions. And it's interesting to hear other people talk through it because you'll listen to them and you'll be like, oh, I would go this direction. Because, there's a lot of us that have been on there every day for a long time, not since the beginning, not me, but, it's just really interesting and we take it down to minutia. So especially with interest rates, we're taking it down to dollars per day of what an interest rate between a 7% and a 5.5. So we ask questions to get them to a yes and then discuss, or a maybe, and then discuss what the difference between that maybe and the no is. So maybe a 5.5 and a 7%. So being able to discuss that and talk through it and work on a computer or your calculator at the same time. It's been amazing because it's the same information every single day. Someone new saying it, and then your brain discerns it in a way that you want to say it. But practice is so important, saying the words afterward.
They're doing it. It's always the action. We got about 7 minutes left. You guys know that goals have demands, right?
The quote that has been killing me this week is, if you do not sacrifice for your goals become the sacrifice. And it's so simple, but so very true. And it has just been on repeat. So it's funny, if you don't like walk up to that person and sacrifice their anxiety, then your goal of getting that listing will be gone.
Okay. So this, if feelings are the things that are making you stop talking, like not talk to people. Notice that I'm a big feelings guy, they're wildly irrelevant.
Right.
Because you can have the conversation anyway, to your point. However, I do not like talking to people I don't know. When I said I'm the laziest person you know, I literally have a set of rules that I have in conversations and I practice them a ton so that I do them all the time. For instance, for me, when I get anxious, I'm like, oh, I don't wanna, it's because I have too many options. There's something about, I don't know what we're gonna say, they might say this, then I gotta say this, and then how am I gonna respond to this? To make my anxiety go away, I just make a decision, and the decision every time was just have the conversation. And the minute that I just made the decision, there's nothing else to be anxious about because I've made the decision.
Well, I've been wanting to say this, but I'm not a realtor, but I'm done biting my tongue.
Do it.
So. Yeah. I have to tell you, relationships are my strength. That's what I love. I don't no script. I need the facts I need. I'm gonna do what I can do. But if you don't think calling a kid from your church that was in the youth group when your kids were in the youth group at 47 years old to reintroduce yourself after 20 years.
Yeah.
That was scary as shit for me.
You crushed it.
That was
This is like,
Blake,
hey,
guys, that was
I can't
Blake.
believe you're 67.
Irrelevant. Just like interest rates, it's all irrelevant. But that was scary. And I remember thinking, he's gonna be like, oh shit, what are you doing?
Who are you?
But it was nice to catch up and I got this opportunity and Blake is the reason why I'm part of this group. So.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good at starting conversations with people. I'm like, are you done? I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Like, and we connect over the dog, or we connect over jewelry, or I'm talking with some random stranger somewhere. I have trouble, like, I know we're gonna just pass each other and then go in separate directions. Like, how do I transition the conversation from jewelry or dogs to, hey,
So do you like that person?
yeah, we're connecting, so we're having fun talking,
Yeah.
but they're not my friend or anything, it's an acquaintance.
Can I get your phone number? I'd like to talk more about dogs.
Oh.
No, that's weird. That's not creepy.
Or use what Blake did just a few minutes ago. Hey, it was really great talking to you. I'm in real estate. If you ever have a need, give me a call.
Okay.
Or
Your dog reminds me
Yeah, that's
of
way
what
better
it
than
be.
the dog.
Yeah, so I wanna just really, sorry, really fast. That's okay, but the problem is that you're giving them
Right.
your information, it's not the other way around. When can we talk about puppies? Yeah, it's a little creepy when we say it here, but if we're sitting there and we're talking about dogs and I'm like, hey, we should take our dogs to the dog park, like, you have to create some sort of bridge so that you can get their contact information. So you can put them in command, so you can have dog dates, and then real estate will happen. But that's how it goes. Real estate is an ancillary thing that happens. That you know if I have enough of these ancillary conversations about dogs, I need to have 600 of them, I'll sell 100 homes. 2 dog lovers. That's awesome. So it's like, you just have to get their information somehow. And the problem is that you just need to ask the first time. And they're gonna go,
Yeah, cause you could be like, are you from here?
Yeah.
You know, it's been really great talking to you, like, I have to go or whatever, but. I don't know, I feel like people are, it's scary, but people are always looking for friends, you know, like, they're not looking, if you asked me like, do you want any more friends, I wouldn't be like, no. I don't want any more friends, don't talk to me about it, like, all the time, I love meeting new people, and I think all of us do. There's a lot of people like that, and if they're already receptive enough for you to have a good conversation about dogs of all things, or the jewelry or whatever, just be like, oh my gosh, you're really sweet. I would love to go out and grab coffee or something with you. Are you from here? Cause some people are just visiting or whatever. And if they are, be like, awesome. What's your number? Let's go chat or whatever. Or if you do like wine nights or whatever, invite people to things, public events, like there's bunkos that go on at like urban grounds and just different, I don't know, anything, just like, if you think you have stuff in common with them, who knows?
How do you make friends?
Yeah.
how do you, systematize making friends. You can systematize that. So for instance, if asking for a phone number makes you feel like, oh God, I don't wanna, cool, what's your name? Let me add you on Facebook. So but here's the thing, please hear this.
Intention.
Step one is add them on Facebook. So then what is step 2?
Conversation
Or email.
reach out.
It's gonna be reaching out to them on Facebook. What is step 3? After we talk on Facebook,
Get together.
we're gonna get together. Perfect. Step 4. Once we get together, I'm gonna figure out what they do and I'm gonna tell them what I do. Great. Step 5, we put them in my database now because I know I like them. And then step 6 is hang around for 50 years until they have a real estate need, stay in contact.
And you could also potentially circumvent a couple of those steps if you actually are a creepy stalker and watch their page and see that their dog won the Westminster Dog Show. You pick up the phone, well, you don't have their number yet, so you make a private messenger message to them. Hey, saw this was great, would love to talk to you about it.
Systematize it, yeah.
Yeah, so I do a lot of audiobooks, and so I'm doing one that's probably a lot of people are familiar with. It's like how to like influence people and make them like you or something like that.
Influence
Whatever.
people.
Yeah. So stop talking about you. They don't care about you. They really don't. Like, they want to talk about themselves. So let them, like, just make it about them and let them tell you. And then,
We got things to
Bye,
do.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Blake.
You got things to do?
No, I'm staying.
You sure?
Yeah,
I mean, do you have things to do up here?
No, okay.
Okay, what else? We're in the middle of this, let's keep going. We got 10 more minutes, come on. 15. What else?
Who was it that was just saying that people like to talk about themselves?
me.
That is so true. So what is so weird, on my time as a manager interviewing people, the more times that person who's trying to get a job asks questions about the person interviewing them, then at the end of the interview, you're like, wow, that interview went really well. And why? Because people like to talk about themselves.
Yeah, I was a recruiter for 6, 7, 8 years, and that was one of the conversations I had with everyone that I was sending for an interview. I'm like, talk to me about your list of questions. And a lot of them would have well, I want to know what line are we working on and how long it's like, okay, no, I want to know your questions about the position, about who's your direct report, what's the director, I mean, there's some things that you need to be asking, because it's gonna make them realize that you're concerned more about than just getting a paycheck. Same thing with you guys, you need to be asking the questions to make sure they know you're not just concerned about someone getting a paycheck and selling their house, you wanna make sure that you are helping them. Because that's the ultimate goal at the end of the day, is to help someone either buy or sell their home. The fancy word like Blake used, the ancillary part is we get paid. Our duty is to help these people sell their house as quickly as possible for the most amount of money in the least amount of time. Quickly as possible, most amount of money with the least amount of headache. Yes.
Another thing I picked up from that same book was it's all about sales. And so it's like picking up on how successful you'll be when you, like, don't make it about what you're selling it about. Make it about something that they love. So notice those things, pick up on what their kids like, or, you know, whatever. Pick up on the little details and they'll want to do business with you.
Was it a sociology book?
I don't know what it was, but I was
I-
like,
because I
I talk way
minored
too
in
much about myself, like, I
Oh, yeah,
just,
that book's been out for
it's a
probably
really old book.
50 years.
I mean, it's
Thanks,
Dale
Blake.
Carnegie,
Thanks,
like,
Blake.
it's
Thanks, Blake.
super old, but still relevant, still very relevant,
Yeah.
so.
But lots of sociology techniques, if you guys just look those up. I mean, I wanna know how people work, so that's why I minored in it, but they just, people do like to talk about themselves. And at some point, they feel awkward talking about themselves and they're gonna ask you what you do. I mean, like, seriously. So you don't even necessarily always have to bring it up when you're
Right.
making new friends.
Yeah, they will, or even some of them know what you do, and then just you taking that time to recognize something that was important to them earns their business.
Or I wear a goofy real estate t-shirt, because I do those a lot, and that works a lot too.
Perfect timing, you putting your badge on right there. Because I was gonna bounce back to what we talked about earlier about putting yourself in the way of business. 4 of you in here are wearing a name tag. They go to the gas station, the grocery store, anywhere today, they don't have to say a word. They can pass somebody like that and somebody, you know, they may not get a deal out of it, but they might have somebody stop me, oh, hey, I've been meaning to ask my friend who's in real estate, but I keep forgetting, can you tell me X? They have put themselves out there in the way of it, just at least holding their hands up saying, hey, I sell houses for a living. How can I help you? Without saying a word. So be mindful of those things when you guys are going. I'm not saying wear your name tag to church, but, you know, help host an event. And guess what you can do when you help host the event? You can sit at the table and you wear your name badge. Kids soccer games, baseball games. Get the shirt that says I sell houses. Whatever it is, we'll get the KW chair. If you don't have like I said, if you've got a water bottle or whatever, the one that you like and you don't want to get a KW in, get a sticker and slap it on there, or a magnet, so you don't have to have it on there all the time if you don't want it on there. Little things like this, just so people know. Because you would be stunned at the number of people that you are convinced they know that you're selling houses and that you're in real estate. Oh man, I totally forgot that you were doing that.
It takes a long time for them to remember that. Roughly 3 years, I feel like.
The family member that had the 100-acre farm out in Northview. I walked in the front office at our old office. She's standing at the desk waiting to sign a couple pieces of paper. She looks at me, she goes, oh, I totally forgot. And I'm like, it's not your fault. It's entirely my fault because I didn't
Right.
remind you.
Yep.
That was roughly a $1.75 million property.
That hurt.
One of the things about remembering people is that I learned before was, who is your insurance agent? My insurance agent is Greg Iott. Why do I know that my insurance agent is Greg Iott? I think I've met the guy one time and I've been with his company since I was 16 years old.
Mhm.
And the only reason I remember is every month I get something in the mail that has his name on it.
Mhm.
That's how I remember that my insurance agent is Greg Iott.
Yep, because if you didn't, you might use a different insurance agent because you might not remember who it was. 70 to 80% of people would use the same agent they used before if they could remember who they were.
No joke, I worked an open house once and someone walked in and you ask like if they're working with, you know, casual conversation, are you working with an agent? Well, I have this agent that sold me my house like 10 years ago and she sends me a monthly newsletter in the mail every single month. So is that my agent? And I was like, well, have you signed anything? You know, no, I haven't signed anything, but now that you mention it, you know, she's been taking the time to do that. I feel like I really should give her something. And then they wouldn't connect it with their agent. Like, no joke, because they put something in the mail every single month for so many years. That person, she sold them one house and is that my agent? I was
Top of
like,
mind awareness, gang.
mhm.
They don't remember you, they'll find somebody else.
Well, and one of the things that I have started, or actually I've done since I got my license, is the closing gift that I get someone is a watercolor painting of their house. And I put their name on it and the date or the year that they bought it with the address. And the reason I do that is so that I've seen before where after closing, the previous person who got that as a gift from some other agent left it at the house. So I'm like, okay, well, how can I prevent my folks from deciding to move and leaving it at the house, so I put their name and the time, but on the back of it, I put my business card that I super glue on the back of the picture frame. So at any point in time, in the future, if anyone forgets who their real estate agent was, all they gotta do is look on the back of their, yeah, I mean, obviously the goal is for them not to have to look at the back of the picture frame, but that's a way for them to remember you.
All right, any other objections, gang? Concerns, worries, struggles this past week?
On Fiverr. I can send you the link.
If you're done.
I'm done.
You got anything?
No, I was
Thanks,
just finishing Blake.
No, that
We were in the middle of it, we had to go.
Dawn. Fantastic. Okay, so at least
Just bothering
3
anybody else,
ahas.
that'd be crazy.
At least
Yeah.
3
Yeah,
ahas.
right.
So I need 3 people to raise their hand and tell me something that you're gonna take away. All of you should have one already, right? If you're coming here every week and you're not taking away at least one thing that you're gonna implement, that's a you thing. You need to listen, write something down and make that your mission. So I need 3, yes.
The thing you brought up about choose your words carefully, you know, I have to do this, or I want to do this.
Yeah, should do,
Yeah.
don't want to. I love that. Yes.
I think what you said about the sacrifices, if you don't sacrifice for your goals,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going to
I was gonna say, say your whole thing
sacrifice.
again.
Danielle's quote that's haunting her every day.
Sacrifice.
Love
It
that.
haunts me right now, so.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
I'll smack you in the face a little bit. You look back, you're like, oh, I've been doing that. What else? Yeah.
Stop sitting at home.
Stop sitting at home. Just get out when Blake, the way Blake's, I have way more fluff than Blake and I love him so much. And no joke, that is Blake. Like,
Oh, yeah.
when you say, like, he's at the grocery store and someone's like, how's the market? He's like, well, what do you need to do by yourself? Like, what are you talking about? He just, but guys, you won't talk like that, or you might, and that's totally fine. He's asking questions. That's a big thing that I saw Shanna say is like, every script just reminds you to ask questions and listen. Just ask the questions, because you could be totally thinking you're handling their objection, saying something, but you didn't ask 3 more questions to find out exactly what that objection is, so you're not answering their question.
And prep them to ask, but I usually am like, if we're gonna get real personal, you know, I need to know your income and stuff like that, and know if you qualify, like, are you gonna be okay with me getting real personal? I mean, if you feel like you need to ask that, if you don't know them super well, ask it, but they're wanting to know.
Yeah.
Real quick on that, that was an old script that we had years ago on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being frivolous and 10 being completely honest. What kind of level of conversation would you like to have with me today? Give me permission to have a level 7, 8, or 9 conversation with you. And once you've done that, then it's a whole lot easier for me to ask those questions.
I like that.
But don't ask someone at the grocery store how much money they make while they're looking at cereal.
Right, schedule a meeting.
Cereal, time and place. It's
I
absolutely
wanna know
fine.
what the generic, what's that one little, the boy, the meme, I like Batman. What's that, I can't remember what it was, the video?
Audio right now is I'm gonna do everything with the confidence of a 3-year-old boy wearing a Batman costume.
I think.
Yeah, we had something over here.
Turtles, I like
Did you guys
turtles.
raise your hands?
I did.
I like turtles.
She likes
Still referencing the same book. So making the goal being like, if you can get 2 yeses from somebody, just again, with asking them questions and them answering yes to your question, you're going to build good rapport and be able to keep the conversation going. So, you know, like what I'm hearing you say is you feel like interest rates are high. Why do you think that? Or whatever, you know,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, just showing that you're
Trying to get a
actively
yes,
listening,
yes.
ask them a question.
So asking questions
Yeah.
that you can get 2 yeses.
Mhm. Super cool. We talked about that a lot at Bold too. Holly Levin, did you have
So my
something?
questions, so when I connect with people, I know I'll never see again, just
Right.
I will enjoy talking with you, let's connect on Facebook, what's your name again,
Yeah.
and then maybe for her, you know, him to send the card and just make the statement.
Yeah, that's super cool.
One of the things too, though, if you want someone to know that you sell real estate, take a genuine interest in what they do for a living. And you can ask, like, even if real estate hasn't even come up, just say, you know, I'm curious, what do you do for a living? And then take a genuine interest, ask 3 more questions once they tell you what they do. And then what are they gonna do after you're done talking about what they do for a living? Say, well, what do you do? And then it gets brought up and you didn't shove it down their throat.
Right, I think that's something, I'd had a quick conversation with Blake, also known as Judy by Shanna, the other day when they were trying to get him to do this, and I didn't even know that like 70 or 80% of Blake's business is referrals, which when you've been only in the business for 5 years is, you can be anywhere you want in 5 years, but y'all, I mean, I know you guys have looked up and you're like, oh my gosh, I've been licensed for 6 months, a year, whatever, what am, it takes a while to get started. So to have that large of like your business coming from referrals in 5 years, that's a phenomenal, totally doable, great goal, let's do it. But I asked him about that, and it's not just, I sold these people a house and they referred me all these people. It's people I know, like and trust, they know, like and trust me. They've never even done a transaction with me. They're referring people to me. He said on social media, he's not only posting about himself, because you can do that. You need to let people know that you sell real estate. But like we said before, people like talking about themselves. He's going to his Facebook every day intentionally. And he told me he finds out what his people that he knows and likes are doing and supports them.
Well, and the more you
Just that
comment on their
simple.
stuff, the more your stuff will pop up.
Like the
there.
Vision Con, he's involved in this Vision Con thing. He goes and they're doing a business, whatever, he'll show up and he, supports them and just talks to them and creates a relationship with them. And then the conversation goes from there. So it's not just sliding in people's DMs all the time, right? Like you want to scroll on Facebook anyways, it's mindless, but be intentional with it. Just see what they're doing and show up or reach out. Comment on it and tell them great job, or private message them, which is even better because it gets a conversation going. I've heard Mike Brown make his calls all the time. And literally, we know that dude's on Facebook. We know he is. We all see it. It's fantastic. But he'll literally be like, hey, he'll be leaving someone a voicemail. Hey, I just saw you post this on Facebook. That's super great, blah, blah, blah. That dude could totally comment or just keep it to himself. He's being intentional and just calling. They obviously want to talk about it. They put it out there for the world. Right?
Do you read every comment that somebody writes on your pictures?
100%.
Every single one.
Even the happy birthdays. There's so many.
Yep,
And I'm
you
like,
read
man, I
every
wish I could respond to all these, but I read every single one. So I think, but if it's a private message and it's someone I know that's just telling me something warm and fuzzy, I'm gonna respond every time. Unless my 2-year-old is like pulling my hair, whatever. And then I'll look up in 2 weeks and then I'll respond and be like, I'm so sorry, I never responded, right? But you saw it too, you're front of mind as well, just name recognition. These are all really good things. Anything else? Any other ahas or takeaways?
You guys aren't like on the book face, you aren't telling your direct sphere happy birthday on the book face, are you?
That's
If
what
you've
I was
got
just
their
gonna
phone
say, yes,
number,
call them, message them.
call them or send them a direct text. Because guess what? Like you just said, there's 150 on my wall on the book face. The 7 text messages that I get during the day, I can tell you who those 7 were. I can't tell you who the 150 were. I can pull some out of the woodwork and tell you, yeah, they said this, they said that, but
Let's be intentional. Is it weird if someone texts you happy birthday?
No.
Never.
I always
I've
do
had to
both.
actually be like, oh my gosh, I don't have your number. Who is this? Or sometimes I don't even say that and I'm just like, thank you so much. You know what I'm like? It's never weird if someone texts you happy birthday. Things like that. Okay, cool. So lots of good stuff today. Anything else that anyone else wants to add?
I bought some software through, I think it was either Adrian or Anthony Morrison. They're big e-commerce people. It was a beta program. It's probably been about 5 years. But I have multiple Facebook pages, but like I get the list every day from Facebook on the birthdays.
Yeah.
But the responses are there. I just have to pick which one of the 3 I want to, I mean, it's better to do a voicemail
Right,
back, but it's better to do something than nothing.
for sure. Yeah, that's what.
But
that's what I was gonna
even
say.
through my post, there's responses, 5 or 6 responses to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely.
10 minutes in the morning, 10 in the evening, and I've probably reached out to like 50 people.
It's good follow-up too. I mean, just simple things like that. I saw your birthday was a couple of days ago. How was it? Give them a call, ask what they did. They probably did something.
Or I like how they've started to post before someone's birthday, like a day or 2 before the birthday, before they just get just a bunch of people.
And
That
it's
stands out.
cool because it's like announcing to everybody that it's their birthday because it pops up on everyone's timeline.
Well, and then if other people that are
They
friends
don't even
with
know what
them
we're talking about.
that start commenting on the post that you
Right.
made, then maybe business would come back to you there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, super cool stuff.
Don't be commenting on our post.
It gives you more traction.
Stay away from our
So funny. Cool. Well, I know I've said this a couple weeks ago. Was anyone here when I said go add 5 people in your database today? Does anyone remember that? It's been weeks before Shannon let me come up here and do some things, but in bold, if you're not in bold, that's a really big part is adding contacts to your database. Has anyone heard of the 201 club or command? It's having 201 contacts in your database. with
On
just a
Smart
name.
Plains.
On Smart Plains. So it's either a name, a phone number, email. That's all you need in command. If you don't have that information, if you have one or the other, reach out and ask them for it. They're probably, can we all, I mean, 200 sounds like a really, really huge number. But if you really boil it down, you know 200 people really well. You really do. And if you don't, you just gotta get out there and ask them
And
for one of those
spouses,
things.
it doubles.
Vendors are really great for that, yeah.
Well, so my thought is, well, especially for those of you who are in bold, we're supposed to make 100 conversations a week. If those people, like, as you're going through that list of 100 and you're having those conversations, look to see who's in my database and who isn't. If they're not in the database, add them. Because if by chance you don't hit your 100 conversations, you can erase that foul by putting 25 people into your database. So just do them together as you're going. So just be checking, I'm gonna call this person, are they in my database? Oh, no, they're not, let's get them in there. You'll get 25 people in there.
Which for my non-boldies, the reason, everything in bold is very intentional. The reason they do that is because if you missed your 100 contacts for that week for whatever reason, adding more people into your database on Smart Plans is gonna help you get there, right? Those are contacts that are just already happening and being automatically sent out to them. So I think every day, 5 people in your database is a great goal. I'm gonna tell you again, go get 5 today. I think we all learned really great stuff to go get 5 today. Another thing I wanna do is there's quite a few people in this room who are not in bold. If you're in bold, you have a script partner or a conversation practice partner, I should say. Is there anyone who does not have a conversation practice partner or a place to go to practice that would like that? Sweet, cool. Do you guys wanna team up? I think that'd be awesome. Have you met yet? Cool, Holly, Kira, there you go.
Best friend.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'll connect, yeah, just get each other's numbers. All we're doing is scheduling a time every weekday, 15 minutes max, not even half the time, right? And you just, whatever conversation you want to practice, go for it. If you're calling FSBOs that day, if you're door knocking, if you don't even have anything planned that day, you should. But just think about what you want to practice and try it on each other. I think that's awesome. Anyone else? Cool. A really good place to go as well as the Lead Gen and KW Nixa on Friday, because we practice there. Shannon,
What did it say?
Like an eHarmony match in real life.
Oh.
The hard night. Cut her off, please. Was that Shannon? Yeah. She said that was like an eHarmony match in real life. That's funny. Somebody come cut her off. If Shannon texts you today, I'm so sorry. I'm just kidding. She can still hear me. Okay, anything else, you guys? I think this was awesome. Anyone else agree? I think it was really great. Maybe I'm just extra happy. All right, well, we love you all. I'll speak for Shan too. Call me if you need anything. Team meeting is in here at 11. If you want to stay and watch that, it's also on Zoom.
And I'm teaching contracts for Jim tomorrow, so
Sweet.
come see me one.
There you go. Need a little freshen up, but good job today, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Real estate shirts.
So me too. Etsy has some really cute
Yeah,
ones.
they're crazy expensive.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet we can find something.